Okay.
Is it recording?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we are.
I can jump in. I don't know if that'll help.
Do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
It'll be okay. Okay. It's 3 groups, yeah. Yeah. I think 4 though. No, it'll work. Okay, so you are some kind of organization, and we're not going to. Well, for those of you who've already read the email, disregard, because we're going to talk about it afterward. But this is a team building exercise, and yeah, that's all we're going to say, because we want to discuss it when it's over. I'm going to number you off, and then remember your number. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay.
Can I see all the ones real quick? Alright. Alright, I got the rest. Cool.
You can start.
Okay.
To pay attention when you're giving the signals to the different groups.
Okay.
To listen how our rhythm fit in with everyone else's.
Yeah, that was one of the main goals. That was one of the main goals. Anybody else? There's one more important part. Okay, if you read the email. Oh, we sent out our plan on through email.
I didn't read it.
It was about 1 o'clock-ish.
Do you have an iPhone?
Huh?
Well, let's continue.
So we wanted to translate a lot of these aspects to like a corporate area. That's our group is corporate team building kind of a group, and kind of doing that where everyone's, you know, like a cog in this machine, and that each of you, even though you're all working together, like there's no one sitting next to each other that have the same thing as the next person next to them. And so it's about, you know, confidence in your part. And then I noticed, like, I was following you guys, so when you fell off a little bit, I would kind of give you a hint as to what came next, kind of like a supervisor or a boss would do if you know, needed some guidance. But for the most part, just like starting you and like letting you go, letting you fly. And we wanted to show and translate those ideas for how to work in a corporate workplace, of getting people to, you have your own job, but you might have a team of someone else over there you can ask for help in your team, so other people who have the same parts as you, the other ones with the same number. And but still
get the end, right, and get the end goal, which is to have all of you playing together. Sounds good. But this could also be used, we put that on our paper, with like sports teams and understanding I help you, you help me, and with children learning to work together as well. So.
And additionally, just as far as rhythmically concerned and modeling, you guys, I'm glad, you know, y'all worked together. It was like cohesive.
Yeah.
And, you know, it wasn't, oh, I'm just up here because I have to do something. Y'all kind of worked it out. And you know, your modeling was just enough. It wasn't too much. But, you know, when the one came back in, I was like, I forgot. But, you know, you were there each time. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it wasn't, you know, a lot of times we have the tendency to rush or think that we're up here, so we have to, you know, really like speed it up. But, you know, you took the right amount of time. So thanks. Good. All right. Jasmine, bam. And we're going to talk about team building, not today, but Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Because today we're going to do relaxation. Yes, y'all need that. Yes, I'll participate. Oh. We are preschoolers?
You guys are thinking like kind of late elementary school, so maybe like 3rd, 4th graders in an inclusion classroom. So possibly one student has ADD, another may have mild autism. So
Are we going to use this?
You're not. Yes, everyone's using drums. I think you all place your bells on the floor if you have one. And I need 2 students to share. Emily and Okay, can I get a roll, everyone? Now stop. Great, very good. Michael, thanks for paying attention. Doing very well. All right, who has read the book Where the Wild Things Are before? Yeah, good. Okay.
saw the movie.
Cool.
It's really sad, it made me cry.
Well, today we're going to read the story, and we're going to add some drum stuff and some music stuff to it, okay? Before we start reading, I need to give you a couple of directions. Yeah, I have a question.
Oh, my dad plays the drum.
Oh, cool. We're going to play drums in here today. When you hear Can I have here, Leslie, to Patty? You guys are going to have a part where you have to play the drums on certain words. When you hear me read the words, I'll eat you up, I want you to play it like this. I'll eat you up. Can you guys do that for me? One, up, right here. 1, 2, ready, go. I'll eat you up. Yeah, next time you all say the words with it too. One more time. I'll eat you up. Cool, and Abby, thank you for being so patiently waiting for my directions. You guys, the next part actually. Whenever you go have a scene where there's an ocean involved, I want you guys to move your ocean drum together, okay? Can you show me that and start moving it really gently? Very good. Thank you guys. You can place that back in your drums. You guys over here. So Hakeem to Michael, you guys are going to have your bells. So whenever you hear me say the words wild thing, you're going to... Give me 1 second and I'll show you what to do, okay? Thank you, Michael, for being quiet. Thank you, Debbie, too.
You're welcome.
When you hear me say the words wild thing, you're going to say like this. Wild thing. Can you do that for me? I'll cue you in. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. Can you guys put this on the floor for me? Thank you very much for doing so, Michael.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to get started reading. Oh, I forgot about one very important part. Whenever you hear me say the words, let the wild rumpus start, you're going to rumble, like we did in the beginning, okay? So let's practice it. Let the wild rumpus start! Very good. I picked it up right when I said stop. Very good. All right, let's start reading. Where the wild things are. A lot of covered images here. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another, his mother called him a wild thing. And Max said, I'll eat you. Very good, guys. So he was sent to bed without eating anything. That very night in Max's room, a forest grew. And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off for night and day. Very good. Keep going. And in and out of weeks and almost over a year to where the wild things are. Very good, guys. And when he came to the place where the wild things, they roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, be still, and tamed them with a magic trick of staring into their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And they made him king of all the wild things. And now, Max cried, let the wild rumpus start. Very good, guys. Max said and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all the wild things, was lonely and wanted to be somewhere where someone loved him best of all. But the wild things cried, oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up. Great, we love you so. And Max said no, and the wild things roared their terrible roars and gnashed their terrible teeth and rolled their terrible eyes and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye.
Okay, I messed up. Good.
Oh man.
I know, if we were in real life. Yeah. So, yes, I think, because sometimes that was a very appropriate book for, you know, using, well, for kids too, but using the certain instruments that you did, because a lot of times you find books and you try to make them into things. But, I mean, it was clear, just repetitive elements, which lend themselves very good to having drums. And I mean, I just, I don't know. I like the whole setup. Go ahead, y'all feedback.
It was good.
I really enjoyed it.
It was good cueing.
Yeah.
Like when you said wild things, you like paused and you like looked at them.
It was great.
Yeah, and like you could set it up to where like the kids that are, you know, the ones that have ADD, you give them the wild thing part, so they're the ones, they're like they constantly
That's
are
a good
having
point.
to play a
So
lot.
not just waiting. Because I know you guys like have less than everyone else. So.
Yeah.
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 You put up 3 pages.
You know, she has a good point that it does take restraint to
Mhm.
not want to play, especially as a little kid. To have this drum in front of you, it's like you have to have a will. Classroom, pull that off.
And usually they would know the book prior to without instruments perhaps, and then we would probably add instruments, probably the second reading, because a lot of times you might read a book 4 or 5 times, you know.
One thing I would say is to show the pages more around. Because I didn't get to see most of the pages, but either way, I know the story.
Okay. I could have been obnoxious there. I can't see it.
Yeah, I was going to be a jerk about it.
Yeah, very good. All right. All right. So what we're gonna do today is we're going into wellness. We're gonna talk about in this whole subject area. We're gonna talk about team building and support groups and relaxation. So today, you're already relaxed. So today, what we're gonna do is you're just gonna go through an imagery relaxation exercise, not even with drums per se. Because if you're gonna teach people and facilitate relaxation, you need to know what it feels like to be relaxed. So today is just really a relaxed, chill day, and after I facilitate this, we'll talk about how we can transfer it to drumming and things such as that. Okay, are y'all ready to
No, I'm not ready to be relaxed.
relax? Huh?
Can we lay on the floor?
Yes, but wait. Wait.
Turn the lights off. Nap time.
Well, I mean, this floor isn't really a practice room, so I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
That's a very good
For now, yeah, go ahead and find, if y'all want to lay on the floor, sit in a chair, whatever you want to do, go ahead and do that, okay?
Oh, yeah, I got 3 chairs. Sorry. Are we staying in the circle?
Are we laying?
Are we laying?
I'm blocking myself out.
Oh, yeah. I don't want my chair. You'll knock my feet out.
As we begin, find a comfortable place to lay or sit, with your back or neck fully supported. And if you fall asleep during this exercise, that's okay.
Okay, good.
Close your eyes gently, allowing them to become accustomed to the darkness. Begin to become aware of your breathing, motion of your chest and lower abdomen, beginning to feel more relaxed. Now, begin to slow your breathing till you're taking long, deep breaths. Slowly inhale as much as you can, and then let it go. Feel the release of the air through your lips as you exhale. Now imagine that a small ball of light is beginning to form in the darkness. And as it appears, you begin to focus on it. This ball of light is created by you. It can be any color that you wish. It can be any brilliance that you wish. You can make it yours. This ball of light is safe, and it will not cause any stress or discomfort. Instead, it will help to soothe your worries and your tension. The ball of light begins to move close to you until it's resting on your head. Now slowly let the ball begin to slide around your head, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, and
the refreshed and relaxed feeling you have in your body. When you are comfortable, begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And as I count backwards from 4 to 1, slowly, at your own pace, you're going to open your eyes. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. How do you all feel?
Anybody fall asleep? Like breathing, for real.
I was definitely tuck my head going like this.
Yeah, because I gotta get because I gotta. Alright. Oh.
All right, let's talk about relaxation and imagery. Well, you want to know what you just did, right? I'll just come on this side. Bless you. All right, so the importance of facilitated dialogue. So that means that your dialogue matches the tempo of the music and the rise and fall of the phrase. So, you want to leave, silence. You want to leave room for just relaxing. We always comment on, even in our drumming activities, how, well, maybe we should not talk all the time and let the drums be heard. Same thing relates to relaxation. I tried to make a point of just leaving some time in there where I wasn't talking, so you guys can just rest in that, okay?
Sorry.
So each sentence and idea was kind of forming a phrase. I tried to start with my pitch higher, and then as we begin to settle, try to get a lower pitch, my normal range of my voice. Yeah. I use words like stress and discomfort instead of pain, because sometimes when you call attention to pain, it causes you to have a greater perception of that pain. So I try to use words that were more broad, like stress or discomfort. Okay? You want to stay away from words like try to do this and try to do that, because we are the external stimulus. We are the cue. And so what we give off is what people are gonna, if they have anxiety, they might have been trying to do everything from Jump Street, right? So we want to be that we're that thing that they can depend on. We're like, okay, do this. Close your eyes. All right. Do this, do that. Don't try to do it. Okay? And so, adjust the words and the cues in the music. All right, so we're going to talk about, what type of music do we... All right, so now patient preferred, of course, if you can. If there's something that a patient likes and it is sedative, you know what I'm saying? You want to definitely, when you're prompting relaxation, you want to go on the side of sedative music. So if their patient preferred music is Lil Wayne, we don't want to do that for relaxation. So that's within reason, patient preferred. Okay, but beyond that, we want about 60, 70 beats per minute. Without words is generally better. So elevator, y'all all know what elevator music is, right? I can't stand any music that doesn't have any bass in it, like whatsoever. I need just give me something.
There's even writing.
I'm just saying, they just got all trouble, and my mind is going crazy. You want repetitive elements so people can feel like they're not being alerted all the time and they can rest. And you want it to be predictable, but you do want some elements of melody, if you can. You want elements of melody, and melody will facilitate kind of the rise and fall that kind of mediates kind of inhaling and exhaling too. So melody is good for that. And there was the piano in that. I personally like, my favorite type of relaxing music is the classical guitar. You heard a part in there where the classical guitar came in. I was like, oh man,
I got stressed out.
I'm just like, oh yeah, everybody stress you out.
I'm like at my recital.
All right, so what are the concepts we want to do? We want to focus on is, we talked about in anatomy how breathing is usually involuntary, and a lot of times when we're stressed out, our breathing is just reflected. Our stress is reflected in our breathing, and so when you bring awareness to breath, then people take conscious control of their breath. Right? And now you're having your cortex controlling your breath. And so you're able to facilitate more of relaxation, not just psychologically, but, biologically, or physiologically, I should say. And so, we talked about your body sinking, becoming heavy, making sure you have a support in your back, make sure your back is, supported and things like that. There was imagery such as breathing in the cool, calm air, and there was the light, and you feel the warmth of the light, This light is safe. This light is whatever brilliance you want, right? It's whatever color you want. Definitely, you don't want to make people have, Jamie likes purple. You don't make people be purple, right? Your light is purple. If it ain't purple, you ain't relaxed, right? All right, so these are kind of interchangeable, progressive muscle relaxation. And in particular, let's talk about what populations we want to do more imagery with.
Not schizophrenia.
Right, not people who have a tendency to have
Perception issues.
right, visual hallucinations and delusions. I read some research where a lot of people are trying to do reframing of, so people who have visual hallucinations, they'll in the session they won't do this, but they'll say, okay, what is your hallucination, and they'll try to reframe it, as far as like, okay, well, if there's demons and they're doing this, it might relate to in the past where you had a situation where somebody, you felt unsafe or you felt anxious. Because they're finding that a lot of, imagery and, kind of mental illness, as far as psychosis, is linked to anxiety. So they want to deal with that anxiety to see, okay, this may be a symptom. Of course, it's a real thing in itself, but it's also a symptom of anxiety. So let's deal with the underlying anxiety. So that's kind of some new areas of research that are going on. And so progressive muscles, you start, of course, the word progressive, you start from head to toe and you relax. So while we're doing this, all right, so when you do this, you'll have to do it as far as with drums. So how do we combine this relaxation with a drumming activity? One way you can do it is like a progressive muscle. And every time, the playing of the drums might be linked to the tensing and the relaxing, right? So you can play louder and then play softer or things like that, right? I saw at TMH, they used to do a lot of drum circles, support groups at the cancer center. And, a lot of times they would have the group playing very sedative and then have somebody in the middle, 1, 2, 3 people in the middle that are not really playing but are just taking it all in. And somebody's reading a script at the same time. But you could have your ambient type atmospheric instruments. You could have some drums that are playing just a very relaxed, repetitive. You might, if you want melody and you don't want to use a recording, bring in some Orff instruments or things like that are very, soothing. There's not a big attack unless you want to make it. I mean, most of those Orff instruments have a smooth attack. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just thinking
Yeah. Can anybody else think of any ways that we can, so if we do anything like an ocean or something like that, you can already see how that can be done with percussion and things like that. And then if we're doing a relaxation activity in, let's say, the school setting, we don't want everybody to fall asleep. So we kind of want them to be passive, but kind of, not all the way relaxed. So, yeah.
I've done counseling groups or like in counseling groups where at the end you get, they do a relaxation, because if you're like in a group where the problem that you're dealing with is very something traumatizing, and everyone's talking about situations that are very traumatizing to them, you can bring a lot of emotion out of a person that you don't necessarily want them to leave the room with. Like, you don't want them to leave the room at the height of like all this emotion, and so just to be able to like bring them down to a calmer place is how we would end like every group, and so no one's leaving there totally wrecked in their mind. You have to do something crazy because they're so like hyper emotional.
Okay, yeah. Let me say something in. All right, so one thing I've seen is, in this class you have the opportunity, you have YouTube. You can play a background of the ocean and, facilitate the drum with that. As well, you can do some type of facilitation where you start off and everybody's getting relaxed, and once you get them to that imagery, that relaxed place, then you've already cued them prior to that. When I say these words, you're going to play their instrument. But first you get them to that totally relaxed place, and then you may prompt them to play the instruments or something like that. Okay? Yeah.
It's a little difficult sometimes because I feel more sensitive when I'm relaxing. So I might be sensitive to a drum circle to the effect it would bother me.
But are we going to play the drum super loud? I'm not saying that. You know what I'm saying? Of course it's, you have to structure it in a way that it fits the activity, right? But I know what you're saying. It would seem that drums don't go with relaxing. However, your job in here is to create, because you don't have to do a checkup with drums. With relaxing, because we're going to do team building, you can do that too. But, if it's in here, it's to create a successful activity with relaxing and drumming Okay, some type of, they don't have to be the hand drums.
Right, so percussive.
Right, or they could, you could, I mean, it could be any type of movement that facilitates a sound, right? It doesn't have to be like this, okay? Somebody else?
So, it's hard to imagine an actual facilitation with percussion instruments for relaxing. Yeah, because what you were doing was all it was YouTube, right? Or was it a piece that you put on?
No, it was from my iPad.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of how to put that in together with everybody relaxed, because they're going to be moving the whole entire time. They're not going to be
Right,
still
but let's just
thinking.
say this drum is already right here. I'm not prompting you to move across the room, but when I prompt you, I want you to make this sound right here. And then part of relaxing too is you're relaxing, but it's psychologically the fact that we are making the relaxing music also calms you. The fact that you can create your own relaxation. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're also teaching. Yeah.
So you're not necessarily trying to, you just want us to understand what it's like to be relaxed.
Right,
This,
right.
So it's not necessarily the very, extent that we just did in terms of, just being completely still and just, sitting there.
Right.
Is that, that's what I'm getting
Right.
at.
What I wanted you to do today is to just have you experience,
Right.
what that is, to be cued. That's the term. To be cued to relax. You need a cue to relax. We don't, a lot of times we go through the day and I forget to breathe half the time. I mean, I forget to structure my breathing. And I find myself stressed out, and I remember, okay, I need to take long, deep breaths. So that point of that was you have to cue your clients to relax. Okay? That's the point. Yeah.
And my other idea was, as part of just having them breathe, but make it a little more like do half the group breathing in while the other half breathes out, to just promote that, you hear it more.
Right.
So that would be part of the atmosphere of the ocean with the wind. It could be you can make wind in the group, but then you're promoting breathing.
Very
Would that
good.
be okay?
Yeah. And before we leave, let's come up. Let's brainstorm. Let's brainstorm just ideas. No idea is wrong. How would you use the drums? I think I'm just a rumble would rumble up and rumble down would facilitate breathing and things like that. Okay, a heartbeat. So you're doing a heartbeat, and you could model. Okay, at first you have the heartbeat. This is going on the whole time, but the heartbeat is it's linked to anxiety at first, and you have a lot going on. And then even while this is going on, you begin to bring the rest of the things down, and you begin to have relaxing things around the heartbeat. Okay, and then that brings somebody awareness that, okay, I can cause my heartbeat to be more relaxed via relaxation, via what I listen to or what I think about, that kind of thing. Okay. Anybody else got an idea?
I think the triangle would be perfect for waking people up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Give me 2 more ideas and we'll put these drums up.
I would think that the rain sticks and all the ambient drums,
Yeah.
would be the way to go for me.
Okay.
But I know what you're saying. Maybe it's hard to start fast
Yeah.
and then slow.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
Well, I was thinking that too, having everyone feel their chest and so they can feel their own heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
and then everyone do the heartbeat
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to focus in on trying to slow down your own.
Okay. Okay.
In that essence, you're also focusing on breathing, because the way to slow your heart rate down is focus on your breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have another idea.
Yes.
Or we could attach maybe chimes or some kind of instrument to imagine colors,
Mm-hmm.
warm colors, and
Okay.
warm visions in your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Okay. Well, let's pack up for a day. And Thursday, who's going intro drum circle? Deb and Tanny. Wonderful. And then we'll talk more about team building and support groups. Okay?
Is there anything in particular that has to be included in it? Does it have to be team building?
What? No, y'all don't. No, y'all don't.
Relaxation and team building.
No, y'all
Go and
don't
check
have any.
out. Like you get to pick either one. That's what we do.
No, I mean, I gave, there's a lot of ideas I gave. You could do
I'm sorry.
anything like, a story, one person doing a lot of facilitation, or the teacher, consulting, music therapist,
Your buddy's in already?
I'm really bad at these.
yeah, I would like to do that. It's very open. The intro. Yeah.
Hakeem, is this and next time's lecture on going to be the same?
Yeah, the same checkup.
So we get to pick one.
You can pick